is Dawn Harris, and I'm founder and president of Revelation Gardens, and this is our weekly Paws podcast. Today I'm going to focus on some of the essential pieces of being a rescue. People often come to me and ask, what do they need to do to start a rescue? So I'm going to go into some of that and then give you a tour and show you some of the components of being a rescue. And I also wanted to focus on just some of the issues that we run into as a rescue as well. But before I jump into all of that, I wanted to remind you of our founding scripture, Revelation 21:4. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There'll be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. Revelation Gardens is a Benton County, Tennessee rescue that focuses on helping special needs or hard to adopt rescues have sanctuary until their perfect home is found. And in conjunction with that, we try to help more pets stay in the home through our community resource outreach program. If you'd like to have more information, I'll be posting how to contact us in this video. So let's go ahead and jump in. Um, like I said, people come to me often and ask what they need to do to start a rescue. And I'd say first and foremost, it requires a lot of soul searching and getting really clear on why you want to start a rescue. And then if you want to be a nonprofit, you have to go through the steps of applying to the IRS for nonprofit status. It's a lengthy process. There is a short form that you can use to apply if you meet the criteria. There's also a process with the state of Tennessee or your state, wherever you're living, to start a business and a nonprofit in particular. So you'd have to go through your Secretary of State more than likely to find out what is involved in starting a business. And if you plan to seek donations, you'll also, and I'm going to have to speak from my experience in the state of Tennessee. So everything I say may be different in your state. And if you are in Tennessee, you'll want to do all the research to make sure that everything I'm saying is accurate at this time. We started in 2018. I founded Revelation Gardens in 2018. So it's been almost 8 years ago. So things may have changed for the startup process. But again, you'll have to check with your state to find out what's involved. But for us, for Revelation Gardens, I had to start a nonprofit corporation with the state. And then I also went through charitable solicitation, and I think that's also that might be through the Department of Revenue. And that allows us to seek donations. So that's involved as well. And to start a nonprofit, you have to come up with incorporating documents, bylaws, and you have to have a board. So there's a lot of those behind the scenes things that need to occur. And once you get all of those legal pieces in order, and you're actually doing the hands-on rescue work, you're going to have a funding mechanism in place because it takes a lot of money. And some people are really well connected and it'll be a little bit easier. I myself, I was fairly new to the area, and so it took quite a bit of effort to get some stability and get some support. And so you just have to map out a business plan and your strategies and do some strategic planning. And oftentimes it's trial and error. So I did a whole bunch of events in the beginning. I did a Poktoberfest, and I had vendors, and we had speakers and musicians. We had a cutest pet contest. We did a blessing of the animals. So I did a whole bunch of things that were really cool. But being a very small nonprofit, it took a lot more effort than what I had available, and the return wasn't all that great, although it was fun. So again, just kind of mapping out where you want to go and then plugging in some of the mechanisms of how you can get there. Super important in any endeavor, but especially with a nonprofit rescue. We also had to get insurance, and Let's see what else. I think once I got all of those things in order, the actual rescue piece, I had a very defined focus, and my focus was animals that whose owners had passed away or they were incapacitated from some sort of a medical illness or that sort of thing. But I have such a heart for animals, and it was so hard to say no to an animal in need that I just took in a whole bunch. And we were way beyond our capacity right away. And so I had to sit back and really think about, what is our vision? What are we going to do? And we weren't sustainable. So in the beginning, we were primarily just a sanctuary. And I realized I had to incorporate adoption into our vision because we weren't sustainable. There's just so many animals in need, and not being able to say no was was a big barrier. But so I just brought in everybody that I could, and then paused and tried to think through how to address that. Not the best approach. I would recommend that instead of doing that, you are really clear and you stick with your focus. Hard to do, but that's what I recommend. Um, so there's so many components to running a nonprofit. There's all of the legal stuff that once it's in place, you do have to have annual reports, taxes, you have to get an accountant, you're going to have to find a veterinarian that you trust, and oftentimes they will negotiate a rescue rate, not always, but that's something that you could certainly ask about. And so, kind of compartmentalizing, there's the legal, the corporate stuff, and the annual reports, the board meetings, taking minutes and making sure that those are approved and the secretary signs them. They become part of your record, open to the public. There's the taxation stuff, the 990. That is, an unbiased accountant should be involved in that process. The 990 is open for the public to view at any time, and that is used by a lot of grant writing or granting agencies to review you as a nonprofit so they can tell the health. Um, so besides all of that corporate stuff and kind of the overarching part of being a nonprofit, then there's also the marketing, getting the word out there and getting support. There's fundraising, getting really clear on how to do that and reaching out into the community. And part of marketing would be different mechanisms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, in person, all those sorts of things. And then there's the medical part for the rescue. So you have to have a trustworthy veterinarian. And then there's the day-to-day operations and the supplies and getting the supplies, the hands-on work with the rescues of caring for them, and the cleaning. There's maintenance involved in the facility and gathering volunteers, so that's a whole nother piece to it is the support from a monetary but also from a hands-on volunteer perspective. And there's also program development. So that is my strong point. I love developing programs, and in particular ways that we can help reduce the need for rescues to begin with. So I really went into that area and developed some good programming. And so you have to again figure out what your focus is going to be, where you're going to try to reach and make the most impact. So there's a lot of things to consider, and similar to just any business, you have to have a plan, and you have to have steps and SMART goals, and you have to have um, accountability and a way to measure yourself. So all of that was done in the very beginning, and then as we were involved in rescue work, I always say we because it is an organization and we are made up of volunteers. But in the beginning years, it was pretty much just me, but I still speak in the we aspect. I've just kind of programmed myself to do that because I don't want the focus to be on me. So once we were already doing the rescue work, we had to kind of reevaluate, especially when I realized that we weren't sustainable. And we went back to the drawing board and came up with some programming and some different ways that we can um, try to become sustainable. And that's had to occur several times throughout the almost 8 years that we've been doing this. And and I think that's a really good approach with any endeavor, is to reevaluate as you go and make sure that you're still on target, and the activities that you're involved in and your effort is effective, because after all, that's what we want. We want to be an effective um, change maker in the world. I'm trying to make my little piece of the planet better to the best of my ability. That's why I do what I do. Um, so it's for Revelation Gardens in particular. I work a full-time job and a part-time job in addition to all of the stuff with the nonprofit. So when that is the situation, you have to make sure that you have reliable volunteers that have a heart for the animals, that can step in and help, because I certainly couldn't do everything I do without them. So the volunteer piece is crucial. So I really encourage anybody that's considering starting a nonprofit animal rescue to really find some folks that want to walk beside you on the journey. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause that, and if you have any specific questions, email me and then I can address them in a future podcast. That's just an overview of what it took for us to get started. And I forgot to mention, you should come up with a logo, and we do have a tagline, and it's the scripture that I mentioned in the very beginning. It's Revelation 21:4. That's why we're called the Revelation Gardens. And it says, I'll say it again, but it's he'll wipe every tear from their eyes. There'll be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. The reason I chose that is because I have a background in grief and loss, and animals that have been abused or neglected, surrendered under difficult circumstances, they have grief, and I have a heart for that, and so I wanted to bring what I know and what have I personally experienced with grief and loss to the table, and help develop programs around that to help them heal and feel safe. So that's why we have our tagline of "He will wipe every tear from their eyes." And again, there's the full scripture, but that is who we are. So we have our logo and then that tagline, and it has a lot of special meaning to me, and so that's what it is. That's why we have it. And so again, if you have any questions, you can email them or reach out on Facebook, or I'll leave all that information in this video, and I can address those at a future time. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you on a tour, and we have several buildings, and so I'm going to be carrying my computer. It's going to be a little bit awkward, and but I'm going to do the best I can. I just want you to see who we are and see the animals, and you'll get more of a feel for how we've approached rescue work. And I will talk about some of the issues in some of the buildings where there are issues going on, and what else was I going to say about that? It's not fully clean right now. I wanted to kind of give you a feel for, reality, day-to-day life. I mean, we always, once we scoop the litter boxes, we sweep around them, but then the deeper cleaning, the mopping and, the dusting and more of that um, straightening up and that sort of thing has not been done yet today. So that just gives you a glimpse into us in our rawness, our raw form. All right, so I'm going to unplug everything and take you on a tour. This particular building, this particular building is called Alley Cat Flat, and I've named all of the areas, and that's one of the fun parts of my job, is I get to name all the rescues too. Unless they've come with a name, and I often give them kind of an abbreviated hyphen name with a new name and their old name. Anyway, so we used to have a downtown location, and then we had a retail shop, and it became expensive, and it was hard to find time to make sure that all three of our locations were being cared for. So we consolidated, and everything is up here with the exception of 25 rescues, which is at the sanctuary where I live. And so we bought a couple of Solomon buildings. Solomon? Yeah, I can't remember I think it was Solomon buildings. Yeah, in any event, we bought a couple of outbuildings. When I bought this piece of property, it had one, two, three, it had 4 sheds on it, and we've upgraded them. We had some volunteers come out and we helped to make them better. So you'll see the buildings, they're all named. This one is, let's see, do this the best way. I guess I'll just bear with me for 1 second. Make that bigger so I can see it. It's not going to work. Okay. Well, I should have thought this through a little bit better. Just give me 1 second. There we go. Okay. Where's the camera? Sorry, guys. I might actually just cut all this out when I get the video prepped. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start the tour. I am in a room that we call the catio room because it has a big catio outside. And our boys in here are Elvis, Presley's over there, and then we have Pez. And these 3 boys were part of a group that had to be rescued. There was a very unfortunate situation that required us to remove them. They were living in filth, and it was a pretty awful situation. So they're now in their space here, and they have a clean environment. They're safe, and they get their catio where they get to go outside and get fresh air. And they're really wonderful boys. They're in their own room because they're alpha. And Pez actually was with us for a couple of years. Was adopted into where he had to be rescued from, but he had kind of a rough start. Him and his mom and him and all of his siblings were found in a clear tote plastic bin out on 641. It was the middle of summer and the lid was on it, and some people found them and brought them to us. And when I opened it, they were panting and a lot of condensation, and so I'm very grateful they were found. They've all been adopted, and then he's part of the group that was returned due to an unfortunate situation. And we do have a catio out here, and this is one of our issues that we're facing is so we have some roof panels up there that the wind tore off, and I was going to hire Presnell Perfections to take care of that for us, and then I ran out of money, so that's still something that needs to be done. But what happens is it's raining on the wood, and the wood is not treated because it was under, an enclosed area, so it's starting to, it eventually will ruin that wood. So I got to get some funding together. And if anybody out there has the skills to help with this, volunteer their time, and then we'll take care of the materials. That would certainly help us a lot. So I'm going to go into the main house now. The house is called Castle the Cat. So we have, I think, 11 in the main area, and doing really well. This is Athena. Athena, the shelter called us several years ago and said there was a mama and 2 kittens that had been left by a renter down by the river, and she had a collar on, and it had gotten under her leg, and it was embedded in her side, and she had to have immediate surgery. So I got them trapped and got her surgery, and they've been with us. And her son is an adult, and his name is Zeus. And then her other son up here, Apollo, he has a form of epilepsy, and it caused him to self-mutilate his tail, and it had to be amputated. So they do have a couple of issues. Zeus actually has that, but he has not self-mutilated. Actually, that's Maggie. That's not Zeus. So I made a mistake and it wasn't recording earlier. So these are a couple of our volunteers, Callie and Dixie. And so I just wanted to introduce you. Callie is wonderful. She comes 5 days a week, and I'm so grateful for her. And Callie, you want to share a little bit about maybe why you're here or what you do?
Uh, I come here just about every day, like every weekday. I'll clean like litter boxes, floors. I'll mop sometimes. I'll brush cats. I'll feed them. Make sure they're loved because that's one of the most important things. Um, yeah, I enjoy doing it. It's very fun.
They love Callie too, all of the animals, and we're very, very grateful. I'm so grateful because with Callie and Sue, they covered for me, and I was able to take a 2 week vacation, which I hadn't been able to do for years. So grateful for Callie and also Dixie. You know, Dixie's um, been with us for quite a few years,
Yeah,
and she's been
several
coming
years
and
now, yeah.
and so she knows a lot of our rescues and has, watched them, grow up, and she's just wonderful as well and helps to socialize and brush and
Socialize mainly, get them used to being loved twice a week at least.
yeah.
For me, anyway, I come twice a week.
Yep, she's wonderful. We are so appreciative. So if you have a heart for kitties and dogs and want to help us, we always need folks to come down and help with either socializing or with some of our chores, that sort of thing. So here's one of our rooms, and we have a kitty down there. And this is another room. These two girls were just returned. Their human dad had to relocate out of state and couldn't bring the cats due to allergies and dogs where he was going. They're super shy still just trying to acclimate. I don't know if that we'll even see them, but yeah, we had to. I always let people know that if it doesn't work out for any reason, that kitties that are adopted from us always have a place to come back to. And in this next room, they were also two that had been returned. And I'm keeping the girls separate so they can acclimate and get used to the routine and the sounds and all those sorts of things. And these two boys, although they're very sweet, they're also very alpha, and they were picking on the other kitties. So they've taken up residence in my office, which is very messy right now. So that sort of thing falls to the bottom when it's just filing and that sort of thing. But we have Pickle and Bubba, very sweet boys. So they love to play and they're used to being in a family environment. And so they're very socialized and very sweet. So if you have a heart for a couple of brothers, they could certainly use some of their own. So let's go on out here. Bye, boys. Love you. Oops, sorry about that. So this is home to 11, and then we have the 2 and the 2 and the 3, and then we have another 3 in here. And these boys were also from the shelter giving us a call asking if we could help. These boys came to us, let's see, July of 2020, and they were teeny tiny little orphans. There was a sister then. She was one of our first adoptions, actually. This is Joseph, and his brother Jack and Jasper are in here also. Hi, baby boy. Now, these boys have special needs. They are allergic to every single food we've tried, and they throw up a lot. So just this morning, I'm now trying homemade food, and so we'll see how they do. I'm really hopeful that that will resolve the issue. But if you have a heart for sweet little gingers, these 3 boys would make a wonderful addition to your family. You just have to feed them special food. Okay, so let's go on out. I'll show you the rest of who we are. And bear with me as I navigate and you get to see all the movement. I always find that annoying when I'm watching a video and there's a lot of movement, but This is the best we can do for this time. In here is Canine Cabin, and we have Nico and Honey, and they are both, they've been through a lot. Honey was actually in a fire, and she had abuse in her background, and Nico was neglected. So they are both thriving together. They love each other. They get to go on walks a few times a day. This shed is Canine Cabin is very messy. I have not gone in to mop or straighten up. They got fed and walked, but I haven't done the cleaning part of it. So there's Honey and Nico, and they're happy. They get their own TV and their own little couch, and they have a little yard out here. Hi, baby girl. Hi, Nico. You guys get to stay. You get to walk again in a little bit. They have a little area out here, it goes around. So it's not a huge space, but this is just for the times where they're not, supervised and can run around out in the big part of the yard. I'll show you that in a second. And we do need an awning, but for now I put an umbrella up so that when they come out their little doggy door, it's not just pouring down rain right on them. So if you have skills, that's another job that I could use some help with. There's lots of things like that around here. If you love gardening or anything outdoors like that, that's another thing that I've also on my list. This is Caddy Shack. I have signs that I have not yet installed for all of the places, all of the buildings. And so in here we have 5 kitties. 3 of them are very shy, and 2 are pretty social. But this is their space. They have their little patio out here. This is one of the first ones that we built, that and the one across the way that I already showed you. Okay, so we have a mom and her 2 daughters. We have little Snow, Quintana Roo, and Limon Limon. And then we have a brother-sister pair, Lace and Denim. So this is their space. They have a little loft up there that they like to hang out in. And it gets kind of cold in here. The floor is not finished. I'll turn this around so I can see what you're seeing. Sorry, I'm not doing a great job with this tour. Doing the best I can. So the floor is unfinished, and there's also no skirting on this building, so all that cold air just comes right up. So that's another upgrade that I need to take care of. They do have a loft up there, and they love to use that. And to help with the windows, these are just single pane windows. I bought this really thick window covering, so that helps a lot. And then I also added some blankets for when it goes back down to 7 degrees. Hello, little Snow. Hi, pretty girl. Hi, sweetheart. So these guys love attention. If you want to come down and volunteer and hang out with our babies. Bye. Okay, next stop is Mouser Mansion. And Mouser Mansion is a shed that on the One Heart, One Community Day, a group of volunteers came down and totally put new plywood up, and it was amazing. I was so grateful. Kilgore, gosh, I don't even remember their names. I'm so sorry. I'll put a little thing on this so you'll know their names. I'm so sorry, I'm drawing a blank. The principal and his son, I'll put their names up. My apologies. But this is Mouser Mansion, and we have 3 kitties in here. This needs to be vacuumed terribly. I have not gotten to that yet today, so just bear that in mind. But they've been fed, and their litter boxes are clean, and they have all the necessities. Now this shed doesn't look like much, but they're safe and they're warm. These used to be outdoor kitties, and so right here we have Mama Opal. There she is up there. She was actually behind our shop when we were downtown on Main Street, and Blackjack also. They're I think Sterling and Blackjack are out on their catio. So I'm going to take you out there real quick. Now, this catio actually used to have, it was a different catio actually, had a canvas top, and we had a big storm that came through, and it ripped the catio and threw it into the next shed. I don't know if you can see that it's dented over there, but yeah, that was a big deal. And this is their catio, and I would like to fix this up more so they have things to climb on and all that. Now, Blackjack has pillow foot, which means that the pads of his feet swell and causes him a lot of pain. Um, and it's a autoimmune disorder, and so the best treatment is just to keep him as stress-free and happy as possible. But he loves his catio. Hi, baby. He loves his catio. And he was having a problem with his ear, and the vet said it looked like his eardrum may have been ruptured at some point, and so some infection kind of settled in. So these kinds of things are things that we have to address, and make sure that our rescues stay healthy and happy. So vetting is a big part of our budget. So if you ever have extra funds and you want to donate to vetting, you could always donate directly to our account at the Camden Animal Clinic. So I'm taking you now into the basement of Castle de Cat, which is the house, and this is all rescues that we used to care for a colony down that had to be evacuated several years ago, and I can't see. I need to put my glasses on. I'm at that age. I need reading glasses. Okay, here we go. Anyway, I had to evacuate the homeless colony, and so these are all cats from down there. The shelter took some, and we took some. And Mama Queenie was in here. She had leukemia and AIDS, and unfortunately, she passed away a couple days ago. That was sad. She had been pretty stable, but something caused her to pass very quickly. But she was loved and safe, and had, a family for the last several years. This is Tom. It's messy down here. I need to vacuum and mop and that sort of thing. But these are all rescues from that homeless colony. And Diamond is Mama Queenie's kitten, adult kitten. And again, Mama Queenie's the one that just passed away. If you are going to start a rescue, I definitely say you need a washer and dryer. That's critical. So I try to make it a home environment, which is challenging when you have so many rescues. But so that's why we have, couches and futons, and this is like a little kitchen in here. So have it fixed up, even though it's an unfinished basement. We try to make it as nice as possible. And in here we have, it needs to be straightened up a little bit. We have a couch, and we have a TV, so volunteers can come hang out and watch TV or put on a show, from a DVD or something. But one of my big issues right now is this unfinished basement's ductwork. I've tried to remedy it by putting this up, but I need to finish. The ceiling is what I need, but I can't really afford that. Plus it's challenging because it's, got all this duct work. So what would the ceiling be down here? I don't even know how that would work. But I have a huge issue right now. So I don't know if you can see this, but the cats got into this duct here, and it's now blowing just out into the basement. Plus the fiberglass is exposed. So that's a huge hazard, and I have to remedy this right away. I actually called, I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I called AccuAir a couple days ago and they asked if they could come out. And we they said they'd come out today, but they didn't give me a time or anything. And I said that it's a rescue and I don't live here, and so I need to know a little in advance to make sure that I'm here. So I got a text at 8 o'clock this morning and said they were on their way, and I was not here. I was at the sanctuary. I was at home, and there's no way I could get here in a couple of minutes. So I texted and just said I need a little bit more notice, so that because it's a rescue and I don't live here. And he texted back and said that I need to call somebody else. So I was like, what? Okay, I don't think it's out of the ordinary or asking too much to you know. And ironically enough, they were called out to our house and they told us a couple days ahead of time, we'll be out around 8. And then when they were on their way, they texted and said, we're on our way. And so that's what I was wanting, is to know a little bit ahead of time, we'll be here, in this timeline, this particular time frame. I didn't need an exact time. And then to be told that just to call somebody else, I just thought, well, okay. So if you're looking for a customer-centric company, they probably aren't who you need. Um, I don't know what was going on that person this morning. I prayed for him because I thought, gosh, something must be going on. But I just thought that was not very cool. So if you have expertise in ductwork, creating, sealing something, this is a huge issue I need to solve, and I don't have the expertise. I'm going to put some screening up so that they can't get into the area, but I really wanted that duct fixed because it's just blowing in the basement right now. So I don't really know what to do at this point. But so like I said, there's several things. This is probably primary. The panels out in that catio and that lumber is another issue. So anyway, this is our wonderful basement and our wonderful rescues that we love so much and that are very stable and doing really well, considering their backgrounds and some of their ailments. So it makes me real happy to know that they get to have a good quality of life. This is one of our sweetest babies. This is Tom. His name is actually Major Tom. Hi, Major Tom. He's the only, well, actually that's not true. There's 3 boys, but they always stay hidden. He has, I don't know, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 females. So he's like got his own little harem, I guess you could say. Everybody's fixed, of course, but he's a sweet boy. So he was also one of the homeless ones at that colony. Actually, no, he was behind our shop. Several of these guys were actually behind our shop, and then about half and half. The other half were at that colony that we had to evacuate. So they get to enjoy outdoors in this catio. And this is actually the canvas that was over at the other catio. This actually was over there. Got blown and got kind of bent up. That's why it's a little wonky right now, but it works. It does its job. So here we are going past that other catio I already showed you. Now I'm going to show you the last 2 buildings, and then we'll conclude our tour. So I'm really grateful that we have an opportunity to help so many lives. We have 84 total, and we've helped hundreds since our founding in 2018. And hundreds and hundreds more we've helped through community outreach with our pet food pantry, spay neuter grants and behavioral consultations and that sort of thing. We also do rehoming assistance. I want to try to help as many as we can, but if that's not possible, we do help to rehome when needed. Okay, this is called Alley Cat Flat, and we have 7 in here. This 2 is a little messy, but they're all safe, and everybody's very shy except for Charlie and Luca Max. Luca Max is our little heart patient kitty, and I talked about him on a podcast the other day. So this is one of the buildings we purchased when we moved from downtown to try to help us be more sustainable. And we have some sweet babies in here. Hi. Everybody's very shy, but they're safe. It's okay, baby girl. So I'm going to show you the last building, close on out of this podcast, and go from there. Okay. Actually, I should latch that just in case you don't want the wind to open it or a rescue to push it out or anything. Okay, last building. This is the one that's right on the road. This is the one 2464 that is our official rescue address. It's messy. I've been pulling stuff out, rearranging to give them more room. And I forgot my keys. Oh, it's open. The Callie must be. Okay. So again, I did the basics this morning. I haven't done a thorough cleaning, but this is, what did I name this building? This is Kitty Cabana. And this was our attempt at having a retail space to mimic what we did down on Main Street, but that didn't work out very well. People really aren't coming out here. So I'm trying to get all of the retail out and give them more space to play and just have room. But this is our last building. Everybody in here is very stable, very social. This is our primary adoption center. We have a couple of special needs. Ziggy here, he was a returnee because he pees outside the litter box, and he does on occasion still do that. So that is one of our issues. But he's safe and will, has a home here for the rest of his life if need be. But everybody else is ready for a home of their own. This is Mama Zena. That's actually Ziggy's mom. And then Zenith is over there eating. He looks just like his mama. Hi, sweeties. Hi, guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out this podcast. And just to kind of summarize and then kind of close out everything. So this morning I talked about, what it takes to start a rescue using myself, Revelation Gardens, as, the sample, obviously. And then I gave you a tour showcasing, our rescues, just mostly showing you the space and talking about a couple of the issues. If you have expertise in, handyman stuff, duct work, that sort of thing, we could really use help. I don't really have a budget to pay anybody, which is very unfortunate because I know everybody would like to be paid. But if you feel like donating some of your time to help us, we would certainly buy the materials if we could find somebody to help. We also need volunteers, so if you want to come and hang out with these amazing cats and our couple of dogs, we always need that, and they love visitors. We also have a need for, cash donations, donations directly to our vet, and, supplies. We always need food, and we use pellets, not regular cat litter, and that sort of thing. Lots of ways you can help us, so if you feel like that, we would love it. If you want something that's a little bit higher level, you could help with some of the corporate stuff. We need grant writers, we need people to help with some of our reporting, and you could help me with some of that stuff. So I say all of that just to let you know that we need you. We need folks to come alongside us on this journey of rescue work. So I'll put up all of our contact information so that you can reach out. And I think that's really all I wanted to say today. This has gone on longer than our typical podcast, but that was because of the tour. And hope you have a wonderful day. And I always like to say, same cat time, same cat channel, but dogs rule. So we'll catch you next time on our next podcast. And I hope you have a lovely day, and God bless.